your browser's history on your computer may not be as effective as you think. Google has added a new feature that keeps track of almost everything you do online, from YouTube videos you've watched to what you're thinking of buying on eBay. Joining me now with more is internet consultant Phil Bradley. All right, Phil, I was reading the research on this, and frankly, it's kind of scary. Tell us how this new feature of Google's works.
Well, it's one of the usual things with Google. There's both good and bad things about it. Basically, because Google is so integrated with everything that we do, from Gmail through to our searching, through to the browser that we use, it's really capable of keeping an eye on everything. So as you've alluded to, it keeps a record of all of the searches that I've made, the videos that I've watched. I was looking at my Google Activity tool today, and it was telling me it knows the games that I play on Facebook. It knows the searches that I've run on Twitter, the things I've looked at on eBay. It knew that I'd been to a real estate site and the searches that I was doing on potentially buying a house, for example. It knew I'd gone to PayPal. It knew I'd purchased material from Amazon. So it's a very comprehensive timeline. Now, the advantage that you've got for that is that it's really easy. If you're researching something over a period of time, you can go straight back into the activity tool and do your search for whatever your subject is, and use whatever filters you want, such as show me the YouTube videos or show me the shopping searches that I've done. And Google will package all of that together for you, so you've got it in one neat little parcel.
How kind of them. But Phil, let me just bring this back to a point, because we don't have a ton of time. The issue is, people forget Google is not a search engine company necessarily. It's an advertising company.
That's
and this is how they collate the information on us to try and sell us stuff.
Absolutely. The more that they know about us, the more that they can tailor their adverts, the more likely we are to click on those links, the more money they are going to make from us. Google is not our friend. Google is, as you say, an advertising company, and we absolutely need to remember that all of the time.
So how do we avoid this feature if we want to?
Well, to be fair to Google, you can turn it off. You can go into your activity center on Google and say that you don't want this kind of material recorded. You can also delete any of the searches that you don't want. So to be fair to Google, you can do that. But if you have a concern over this, the easy thing, it's easy to say, not so easy to do perhaps, don't use Google. Don't use Google for searching. Don't use Gmail as your email package. Don't use Chrome as your browser. Use something else. Have as little to do with Google as you possibly can do.
That's very hard for people, though, when obviously it's sort of the go-to. I mean, Google's become part of the vernacular. Hey, just Google it. And, you know, a lot of people, millions and millions and millions of people have Gmail accounts. So what you're suggesting would be difficult for some.
I absolutely agree. I couldn't agree more with you. But it's the trade-off that we have for having these excellent services for which we notionally don't pay any money for.
Very true.
So you've really got to choose whether you're prepared to give Google all of your personal, intimate history in order to use Gmail, in order to get good search results, or whether you're going to throw Google out of the window and use something else and keep your privacy and your security.
The other issue is, how do we know it's just staying with Google, this information? Who ultimately has access to that information? Is that something that can be obtained by, for example, a search warrant? We've seen a lot of instances where the police have gone to companies like BlackBerry, like Facebook, other companies looking for information with good reason in some cases, but also it speaks to the issue of privacy.
Absolutely it does. And if Google is given a search warrant, then of course it's going to give up that kind of information. And the other problem that we've got is, if we're foolish enough to let somebody else get access to our Google account, they can look at all of that material that we've got. So on the one hand, it's great having it all together. The disadvantage, of course, is that it's all together and somebody else might conceivably get hold of that information.
It's good and bad. I mean, as a parent, it would be nice to be able to track my kids' online activities, but then conversely, that means, you know, other people can as well.
Absolutely correct. So it's always the payoff between ease of use and functionality and the amount of privacy and security that you want. And that, of course, is a choice that has to be made by each and every one of us.
Fascinating conversation, Phil. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. Take care.
Internet consultant Phil Bradley.